My name is Swami Raj Vibhu, and we'll talk about the impact of changing ecosystem on human body and how we can overcome it. So, to start with, we'll have to see how any dynamic activity happens in nature. So, you must have studied in your school time how rain happens in a place, how cloud moves from one point to another, from high to the end. Now, how water comes up to the top of a tree from the roots, it also happens in a pressure gradient. So, any activity in nature basically happens through a pressure gradient. We can call it the pressure architecture of an ecosystem. Now, this pressure architecture varies with the various components and the change in various components of an ecosystem. Like, for example, with altitude, the pressure architecture changes. But with the components of that, like flora and fauna, the pressure architecture changes. Now, the moment an ecosystem changes, the pressure architecture changes, and therefore the dynamic activity in that ecosystem also changes. Now we'll start with an example, one more example. If you move from a lower altitude area to a higher altitude area, what happens? The topology changes, the ecosystem changes, and your body has to respond and correspond and adjust according to the new ecosystem, isn't it? That means the vitals of your body also change. The metabolic rate changes, the pulse rate changes, the hormone flow changes, and your body takes a little time to adjust to the new kind of ecosystem. We call it acclimatization, isn't it? You go to Everest base camp and your body has to acclimatize according to that ecosystem. Now, this change in the vitals of your body, is it a disease or adaptation? This is a question mark. If your vitals changes by the change of ecosystem, is it a disease or adaptation? So now the question is, if we have forcefully changed our ecosystem, natural ecosystem, don't you think the body will adapt according to the new ecosystem? Have we changed it in the last 100 years? So when your vitals are changing, when your sugar level is rising, when your heart rate is rising, your hormone flow is changing, when the vitals are changing, is it adaptation or a disease? Question mark. Now, let's go ahead. I defined the pressure architecture, how things happen in a natural ecosystem. Through a pressure map, it happens. Whenever we change any component of air, flora and fauna, fundamentally the dynamic activity in that ecosystem changes. What does that mean? The pressure map changes. Now the pressure map also regulates the thermal map of that ecosystem. So if we change the environment, the pressure map changes, the thermal map changes, and interactive map of material, how material transforms and interact in that ecosystem also changes. In our traditional system, we call the pressure map of an ecosystem of this body as Vata Paksha. The thermal map, the dynamic thermal map of our body and the ecosystem is called as Pitta. And the interactive material map of this body and the ecosystem is called as Shleshma or Kapha. Now, the pressure architecture, thermal architecture, and the interactive material architecture in a time-space zone is called as Kumbhaka ecosystem. So, now Kumbhak has a wider connotation. Kumbhak has a wider connotation. But we have appreciated and realized the importance of Kumbhaka in Indian culture. So the most revered thing in Indian culture is always a Kumbhakara or ellipsoid. So Shivalinga is Kumbhakara ellipsoid. Kalasha, or a vessel to keep water, and in Indian culture, Kalasha Upasana is done. So it is also Kumbhakara or ellipsoid. The universe is also Kumbhakara or ellipsoid. The galaxy, the core of any galaxy is Kumbhakara or ellipsoid. The energy system of human body is Kumbhakara or ellipsoid. So what the ecosystem it tells about is a very wider ecosystem. There are lots of components. We also have certain things through which we can change or create a change in the ecosystem within the body, and that is how it happens across the nature. How these three, what is the importance of these three architecture? Pressure architecture, Vata, the thermal architecture, the Pitta Paksha, and the interactive material architecture, the Kapha Paksha. The maximum contribution in a dynamic activity in an ecosystem or any kind of action in an ecosystem is done by the pressure architecture. Within your body, if you see within your body, how things move inside your body, through a pressure map, the blood flow, the hormone flow, and any kind of lymphatic flow, material flow, even the information flow happens through a pressure gradient. So the maximum contribution of a dynamic activity within a system is through pressure architecture. 50% less contribution is through thermal architecture, Pitta Paksha. Even lesser by 50% from Pitta Paksha is the contribution of Kapha Paksha or the interactive material architecture. That is why in Ayurveda it is said the maximum disease is caused by Vata, 50% less is through Pitta, and 50% less even through Pitta is Kapha. So let's see what is the modern approach of diagnosis and how we are treating human body. So the modern approach of diagnosis is just finding out the density of material or the reaction within a human body. So what do you diagnose? Sugar level in the blood, that is density level in the blood, that is density, right? AMH count, anti-Mullerian hormone count, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone levels, TSH levels, thyroid stimulating hormone levels, T3, T4 levels. So we are just diagnosing the density of material. And we are trying to change the density or change the number what we think is standard or as per the convenience of our idea. We haven't had any results in the last 100 years, a window of 100 years, by bringing down the sugar level or correcting the number. We have not been able to come out of even a single disease. So, there is no proof. But we are only trying to do that. So by changing the density of material, changing the interaction of material, reaction of material within the human body, using an external chemical hasn't helped yet. By agonizing or antagonizing the activity within a human body, we have not been able to help humanity at all. And what we are missing? We are missing the thermal architecture, the pressure architecture, ecosystem according to our need. So we'll have to come to a solution. What is that solution? So I'll pick up from this Kumbhak ecosystem, one component of the ecosystem through which you can control anything and everything. So if you do experiments to see how you make effort or how you do any activity for that matter, if you pull hard, if you push hard, and you look inside, how do you do that? How do you make effort? You will see you hold your breath to make more effort. You can't do pulling and pushing without holding your breath. Not only that, you lift any weight, a heavier weight. How do you do that? By holding your breath. Walking, jogging, yoga, Zumba, aerobics, singing, dancing. You do all the activities by holding the breath behind in variable proportion. You can't do that without holding your breath. Within your body, if you vomit, puke, you hold your breath and then puke. You sneeze, you hold your breath and then sneeze. You cough, you hold your breath and then cough. You focus, you hold your breath and focus. You try to protect yourself, somebody is hitting you. You hold your breath and tense your body. So outside of your body, how you control any activity? By holding your breath in variable proportion. Within the body, how the activity happens, the heartbeat, the liver function, the kidney function, it also happens through breath hold in variable proportions. Now this is something you can regulate. We can create formulas of breath hold which can impact your liver, heart, kidney the way you want. And these could be thousands and thousands of formulas according to each and everybody's need and weakness. We can even map the pressure ecosystem of your body. We can also, and there are technology and methods available to map the thermal ecosystem of your body. But mind you, I have said, the pressure ecosystem controls the thermo ecosystem, both controls the interactive material ecosystem. The Vata, Pitta can be controlled through breath hold or one component of Kumbhaka. Even these two together can then control the Kapha aspect. Now, this is the only thing through which you can change the variability or the dynamics within your body by yourself. Using a material, a medicine, a chemical to change any functionality within the ecosystem is always temporary and not recommendable. That is why medicines are increasing, diseases are increasing. So, one thing is how to take charge of the dynamics within your body even outside of your body, through your limbs, how you function. If you want to increase your functionality, take control of your body, then you have to come to practicing Kumbhaka. The second part is tolerance. Now you are taking food which is genetically modified, processed, hybrid, inorganic. The body doesn't think that is my food. So your body gets into risk. You are taking medicine and your body gets into risk because your body is not designed for chemicals. Your body gets into risk. Now your body gets into lot of deviations and side effects. Adverse drug reaction. It just doesn't happen with chemical medicine. It happens with anything you take from outside. Even if you take natural medication from outside, the change will not be permanent, first of all, and it doesn't increase your body's capability of tolerance and adaptation. So how you can increase your tolerance? So I'll give you a little example, and you can do this experiment. You lift a 10 kg weight. How do you lift the weight? How do you tolerate that weight? By holding your breath. You want to lift 20 kg weight. So what you have to increase within the body? The ability of your body to hold breath. The breath holding capacity needs to be increased to increase the tolerance of your body. This is a must because you can't change the environment within a short span of time. It will take 100, 200, 300 years depending upon the intensity of work that we will do towards reselection or correcting the environment. So you will always be in a deviated kind of an environment and body is taking the brunt of it. You must increase the tolerance. If you have changed the lifestyle, you must increase the tolerance towards a new kind of a lifestyle, new kind of an environment, new kind of a situation, so that you are able to reduce the risk factor. You don't get into heart attack. Is it increasing in the youngsters? All the chronic diseases are increasing. So you must increase the tolerance. Once again, you'll have to fall back to Kumbhaka. Adaptability. Once again, adaptability. That means if you are able to change the function within your body according to what is needed outside, you are able to adapt to a newer situation better. When you acclimatize yourselves at a higher altitude, what do? You move your body, you do some exercise. But behind what you are doing is Kumbhaka. From your childhood, the moment you are born till the death, Kumbhaka is something through which your body functions. Not only your body. What is your mind is basically the pressure architecture of your body. So, without Kumbhaka, there cannot be a readjustment of your system. You cannot reach to an adaptation of a newer kind of environment. You cannot increase the tolerating capacity of your body. And once more, last but not least, you can't correct the organ function and strength within your body. So this is something which we'll have to think about in terms of how we are approaching health. We are only targeting the very minuscule part which contributes to the overall dynamics of an ecosystem, be outside or within the body. So to approach it from the right direction is needed, otherwise we'll only create more and more deviation, more and more disease, and it will go on. Thank you.